My name is Ava Miller. I'm a food blogger. I host tasting events and review dishes on camera for a living. Last month, during a sponsored dinner show, my boyfriend tried to kill me using my own plate. I didn't panic. I didn't stop him. I let him serve it. Because I already knew what he had done. And this time, I had a plan. But before I tell you what actually happened, please like and subscribe, because this story gets darker than it looks, and every small detail matters. The dinner event was supposed to be my biggest brand collaboration of the year. A luxury food company sponsored it. Live audience, multiple cameras, professional kitchen. I'd done events before, but nothing this large. My followers had been asking for a full live tasting show for months. Everything looked perfect on the outside. My boyfriend Daniel stood beside me through all the planning meetings, smiling, supportive, helpful. He even told the sponsors he wanted to assist in the kitchen so I wouldn't be stressed on show day. At the time, it felt romantic. Now I know it was access. 3 days before the event, I noticed something small. Daniel kept asking about my ingredient notes, especially the allergy list I keep for safety. I have a severe food allergy, but I don't talk about it publicly. Only close people know, brands know, kitchens know. That's it. He asked twice in one day. Still reacting badly to it? He said casually. Yeah, I told him, hospital level badly. He nodded like it was just conversation. It didn't feel strange then, just caring. The night before the event, we were in the prep kitchen doing early setup. Staff came in and out, deliveries arrived, ingredients were labeled and sealed. It was controlled and professional, exactly how I require it. Around 9 p.m., I realized I left my recipe folder in the storage room. I went back quietly to get it. As I walked down the back corridor, I heard voices from inside the secondary prep kitchen, Daniel's voice, and his sister Chloe. I almost walked in, but something in his tone stopped me. It was low, careful, not his normal voice, so I stopped. She'll taste that dish herself, Chloe said. Daniel answered, yes, she always does. That's the format. My stomach tightened. I don't know why, but my body reacted before my brain did. Chloe asked, and you're sure it won't look obvious? Daniel gave a small laugh. It'll look like cross-contamination. Happens all the time in live kitchens. Silence. Then he said the ingredient name, the one thing that can shut my throat in minutes. My hands went cold. I didn't move, didn't breathe loud, didn't make a sound. Chloe whispered, and the insurance. Daniel replied, calm as ever, already confirmed. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought they would hear it through the door. I slowly took out my phone and started recording, because in that moment, I understood something clearly. This wasn't a joke. This wasn't drama. This was a plan, and they thought I was the unaware main course. I stepped back silently into the dark corridor, and that's when I decided I would not cancel the event. I would not confront them. I would not warn them. I would let them continue. Because if they were going to stage my accident on camera, I would make sure the truth went live with it. I went straight to the restroom, locked the door, and replayed the recording. The voices were clear. The ingredient name was clear. The word insurance was clear. No confusion, no misunderstanding, no maybe I heard it wrong. My hands were shaking, but my thinking wasn't. I've worked in food production long enough to know something important. Kitchens are controlled spaces. That means they're also recordable spaces, if you know where to place the eyes. I called the event technical manager, Marco, told him I wanted 2 extra prep area cameras for behind-the-scenes content. He laughed. Creators always want more angles. Done. He thought it was for bonus footage. It wasn't. Within an hour, 2 small overhead cams were active above the secondary prep counter, the exact station Daniel planned to use. Next, I changed one rule quietly. Final plating would require my approval before any dish reached the tasting table. I told staff it was for sponsor quality control. No one argued. Sponsors love control. Then I created my own labels. Not obvious ones, tiny dot marks under certain containers. Safe ingredients got a double dot. Anything that could be risky got a single dot. Only I knew the code. If something appeared without a mark, I wouldn't touch it. At midnight, Daniel knocked on the office door where I was reviewing menus. "You're still working?" he asked softly. "Big show," I said with a tired smile. He came behind me, squeezed my shoulders. "Tomorrow changes everything for you." I looked at his reflection in the dark monitor screen. "For us," I said. He smiled. That smile almost fooled me, and that scared me more than the plan. "Get some sleep," he said. "I'll handle early prep." I nodded. That confirmed it. He wanted kitchen access before I arrived. Good. People make their boldest moves when they think they're alone. Event day started loud. Lights, crew, delivery carts, sponsor banners, sound checks, staff briefings. I acted normal, calm, focused, even cheerful on camera during rehearsal. Daniel worked the prep line like a supportive partner, greeting staff, organizing tools, joking with the camera team. If I hadn't heard the recording, I would have been proud of him. By noon, guests started arriving for the live audience section. The tasting menu had 6 courses. My on-camera tasting dish was course 4, his station. Of course it was. I checked the camera feeds on the control tablet. Secondary prep cam, active, recording, clear angle. Daniel and Chloe stepped into frame 15 minutes later, right on schedule. They thought it was just a blind spot corner. Chloe placed a small sealed packet on the counter, no label facing camera, but I recognized the supplier color strip instantly. My throat tightened. Daniel said quietly, "Not yet. Wait until garnish stage." I zoomed the feed, captured screenshots, timestamps visible. Evidence isn't emotion, it's timing. Marco walked by behind me. "You're really watching prep today," he joked. "Quality control," I said. He nodded and kept moving. 5 minutes before the live segment, Daniel approached with a plated sample spoon. "Pre-taste?" he offered. That was new. He never does that. I smiled and waved it off, saving reactions for camera. He insisted once more, lightly, playful. I shook my head again. For a split second, just one, irritation flashed across his face. Then it vanished. "Showtime," he said, and walked back to the station. That's when I knew something else. He wasn't just confident in the plan, he was counting on my habits. Unfortunately for him, habits are easy to change when your life depends on it. And the live countdown had already begun. The studio lights came up hot and white. The host introduced me. Applause rolled across the room. Cameras moved into position. I smiled like always. Steady voice, relaxed posture. No one watching would guess I had just recorded a murder plan a few hours earlier. That's the strange thing about danger. It hides best inside normal moments. Course 1 went smoothly. I tasted, commented, joked with the audience. Daniel stayed at his station, focused, professional, never looking nervous. But I noticed something small. He kept checking the clock, not the food. Course 2? Perfect. Course 3? Still clean, which meant the move was coming soon. Between segments, I stepped off set and walked straight to the control desk. "Pull camera B, prep overhead," I told Marco quietly. He switched the monitor. There it was. Daniel plating course 4, Chloe beside him. She stood slightly angled, trying to block the counter from open view. Not from the overhead cam, though. That angle was mine. I watched Daniel reach into his pocket. Not the spice rack, not the garnish tray, his pocket. He tapped something into the sauce with his back partially turned. Chloe murmured, "That's enough." I took 3 screenshots and marked the timestamp. Evidence is stronger when it shows the moment, not the result. Marco glanced at the monitor. "Why are they hiding from the front cam?" he asked casually. "Some chefs are camera shy," I said. He shrugged. I returned to set just as the host announced the signature dish. My tasting dish. Daniel's dish. Applause again. Daniel carried the plate toward the tasting table himself. Another break from routine. Normally, servers handle it. Control. He wanted control to the last step. He placed it in front of me and leaned close, smiling for the camera. "Made exactly how you like it," he said softly. The audience heard romance. I heard confirmation. I picked up the fork and set it back down. "Before I taste," I said with a smile to the camera, "let's quickly show how this dish was prepared in the kitchen." Daniel blinked. Just once. quick, but I saw it. I gave a small signal toward the control desk. A few seconds later, the big screen beside the stage turned on. It showed the kitchen recording from earlier. Daniel plating the dish, Chloe standing next to him, his hand going into his pocket, something being added to the sauce. No sound, but the action was clear. Daniel kept smiling, but his face looked tighter now. "Nice surprise clip," he said quietly near my shoulder. "Viewers like honesty," I answered. The audience clapped. They thought it was just a cool behind-the-scenes moment. They didn't know it was proof. Daniel knew, and that was enough for now. But I still wasn't finished protecting my move. While the host talked, I lifted the plate and rotated it slightly, enough to check my dot mark under the rim. Single dot. Not safe. Exactly as expected. I lowered it calmly. "Chef's privilege," I said cheerfully. "I'm adding my finishing oil, personal touch." From my pocket apron, I pulled a small squeeze bottle, identical to the show ones. Inside, it's safe replacement sauce I prepared an hour earlier. I drizzled it over the top, covering the surface layer completely. Daniel watched every drop. Too late now. He couldn't stop me without stopping the show, and he couldn't stop the show without raising questions. He stepped back, clapped with the audience, played his role, but his jaw was tight, because the plate he planned was no longer the plate I was about to taste. I lifted the fork again. The room was quiet in that excited way, the way audiences get right before the first bite. Cameras leaned closer. The host smiled at me, waiting for my reaction. Daniel watched my hand, not my face. That told me everything. I took the bite, chewed slowly, nodded. "Balanced," I said. "Rich, very smooth finish." The audience clapped. Daniel joined them half a second late. If he expected panic, he didn't get it. If he expected symptoms, none came, because what I tasted was my safe version, not his. I set the fork down and took a sip of water. "Actually," I said, turning back to camera, "this is a good moment to talk about kitchen safety, especially allergy safety." Daniel shifted his weight. Chloe, watching from the side prep area, froze. Most viewers don't realize how easy it is for a single hidden ingredient to become dangerous if someone adds it on purpose. The audience gave a small nervous laugh. They thought it was educational talk. It wasn't. Marco looked at me from the control desk. I gave him the second signal, 2 fingers down. He knew that one meant roll marked clip. The side screen changed again. This time, not a silent prep shot. Audio on. Clear. Chloe's voice. "She'll taste that dish herself." Daniel's voice. "It'll look like cross-contamination." Then the ingredient name. Then, "Insurance already confirmed." The room didn't laugh this time. It went still. Daniel stopped breathing for a full second. I saw his chest lock. "That audio," I said calmly, "was recorded in this kitchen last night." The host turned toward me, confused. "Ava, what are we hearing?" Planning, not cooking. Chloe tried to step away from the prep area. Security at the event entrance noticed and moved closer without being told. Live productions always have them ready. Daniel leaned toward me, voice low and sharp. "Turn that off, now." I kept my eyes on the camera. "No," I said softly. I reached under the tasting table and brought up 2 small sealed containers. One contains the ingredient mentioned in that recording. The other is the safe version I used instead. I held them side by side. Before going live today, I marked and recorded every prep step on camera, every addition, every hand movement. Marco split the screen, live stage on one side, prep footage on the other. Timestamp visible. Pocket, sprinkle, stir. No hiding it now. Daniel looked around like the exits had moved. I didn't want drama, I told the audience. I wanted proof. The sponsor manager was already on his phone, legal team mode, fast. Daniel tried one last line. "This is editing out of context." I shook my head. "Then we can show the full recording, start to finish." Marco raised a thumb from the booth. Saved, backed up, locked. For the first time since I'd known him, Daniel had nothing ready to say. And the show that was supposed to make my career bigger had just made the truth impossible to hide. No one clapped this time. The room stayed silent, the heavy kind. Phones were out. Cameras were still rolling, but the mood had completely changed. Daniel looked around like he was searching for someone to rescue him. Chloe tried to walk off set, but event security gently stopped her near the side exit. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," Daniel said finally, forcing a weak smile toward the camera. "Good," I replied calmly. "Then the full recording will clear it up." Marco patched the longer clip to the screen, not the shortcut, the full kitchen audio from the night before. Their whole conversation. Clear, complete, no edits. You could actually hear the panic in Chloe's voice when she asked about risk. You could hear how calm Daniel sounded when he answered. That calm hurt more than the plan. The host stepped back from the table. "We're going to pause the tasting segment," he told the audience. "We're not," I said gently. "We're finishing it, just honestly." I turned to the main camera. "This dish is safe," I said, because I replaced the dangerous addition before it reached the table. The sponsor followed every rule. The staff followed every rule. 2 people didn't. That mattered. I wanted the innocent people protected first. Police arrived faster than Daniel expected. Large live events always have rapid response nearby. 2 officers spoke to the production manager, then to me. I handed over my phone recording, the prep camera timestamps, the marked ingredient containers, the message screenshots I captured earlier that morning from Daniel's synced tablet. Preparation beats panic. Daniel didn't fight when they escorted him out, but the mask was gone now. No warmth, no charm, just anger. "You ruined everything," he said to me quietly while passing. I answered just as quietly, "No, you planned everything." The investigation moved fast after that. Police checked their phones and messages. It showed Daniel had serious money problems and heavy loans. He had also increased my insurance policy shortly before the event. Chloe's search history showed pages about allergy reactions and how much of an ingredient can cause a medical emergency. That made their plan clear. Both of them were arrested and charged for planning the poisoning. The sponsor company released the full kitchen video to the public. It showed their staff did nothing wrong. The blame was only on Daniel and Chloe. What could have become a brand scandal turned into a safety example instead. My channel numbers exploded, but not for the reason people chase views. People said one thing over and over. "You stayed calm." That's because calm is not personality. Calm is preparation. A month later, I hosted another live event. New kitchen, new team, new rules. Single-person ingredient control, full-time prep cameras, public safety briefing at the start of the show. Some people called it extreme. I call it verified. At the tasting table, the host asked, "After what happened, are you afraid to eat on camera again?" I smiled, picked up the fork, and said, "No, but now I taste the truth first." I took the bite, perfectly safe.